Thanksgiving at my parents' house always smelled like roasted turkey, cinnamon, and a little bit of fake politeness. But that year, there was something heavier in the air, something I couldn't name yet. We were all crowded around the dining table, my mom fussing over the gravy, my dad carving the turkey like it was some sacred ritual, and my older brother Jake scrolling on his phone with that smug half smile he gets when he knows something nobody else does. I had driven 3 hours after a long week at work, exhausted but still quietly hoping that maybe this year would feel a little more like family and a little less like a performance review of my life. Because this house wasn't just a building to me, it was the one stable thing in a childhood that never really stopped feeling chaotic. The creaky stairs, the faded family photos on the wall, the dent in the kitchen cabinet from when I crashed my bike helmet there at 8 years old. All of it felt like proof that I belonged somewhere, that I wasn't just visiting. And I honestly believed, without ever saying it out loud, that this place was equally ours, his and mine, not some prize for whoever managed to be the favorite child. So when my dad cleared his throat, that familiar signal for a serious conversation, my stomach twisted. And before he could even get a word out, Jake put his fork down, lifted his glass like he was about to make a toast, and said, loud and casual, "So, I guess this is the right time to say it. Mom and Dad are signing the house over to me. You get nothing." For a second, I actually laughed, this short, broken sound, because it had to be a joke, right? But nobody else laughed. The room went dead quiet except for the ticking of the old kitchen clock. My mom stared down at her mashed potatoes. My dad focused way too hard on slicing the turkey. And that was the moment my chest went cold and my heart started pounding in my ears. If you're already feeling that punch in the gut with me, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story, because it only gets messier from here. I swallowed hard and asked, trying to keep my voice steady, "What are you talking about, Jake?" He leaned back in his chair like he was enjoying a show and said, "Relax, it's not a big deal. They're signing the house over to me because I'm the one who's here. I'm the one taking care of them. You moved away. You've got your own life." And those words, "you get nothing," just rang in my head. Not just about the house, but about every birthday party he ruined that my parents still excused. Every time I did my homework alone while they drove him to yet another emergency meeting with a teacher or a coach. Every moment where me being independent was just code for, "you don't need us, so we won't show up." I looked at my dad and said, "Is that true?" He finally set the knife down, wiped his hands on a napkin, and without really looking me in the eye, said, "We were going to tell you later. It's just practical. Your brother lives nearby. He checks in on us. It makes sense that he gets the house." My mom jumped in, her voice soft and guilty. "It's not that we don't love you, honey. You're doing fine. You've always been strong. Jake needs more stability." And I felt this mix of anger and heartbreak burn in my chest because I had been doing fine while paying my own rent since college, sending them money when my dad got laid off, calling every week even when they didn't pick up, and now that same independence was their reason for cutting me out. I pushed my chair back a little and said, "So let me get this straight. You've already decided. You didn't think I deserved to be part of that conversation? You just handed him everything and expected me to smile through dinner?" My dad sighed like I was being dramatic and said, "Don't make this ugly. We're still family. It's just a house." And that line, "it's just a house," coming from the man who spent years obsessing over the mortgage and repairs, made something snap inside me. Jake shrugged and added, "Come on, you don't even like this town. You'd never move back here anyway." And that was the moment I realized that in their heads, my feelings had never been in the equation. This whole decision had been made with convenience, not fairness. I looked around the table, at the plates, the turkey, the half-melted butter, and it all suddenly felt staged, like I'd been invited to watch my own exclusion dressed up as practical. And if you're still here with me, wondering what I did next and how far this went, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story, because the way it ended wasn't what they were expecting. I took a slow breath and said, "Okay, If it's just a house, then you won't mind if I treat it like what it really is. Your choice. My voice was shaking, but I kept going. You're allowed to give Jake the house. That's your decision. But I'm allowed to decide what that means for me. So if you're choosing him as the one who gets everything, I'm done pretending we're all on equal ground. My mom's eyes filled with tears. Don't say that. We're your child too. And I nodded and answered, I know I am, but you made a choice, and I hear you loud and clear. I won't fight you in court. I won't beg for a share, but I also won't keep showing up like nothing happened. Jake rolled his eyes and muttered, You're being so dramatic. And I turned to him and said, No, I'm being done. You want the house. The responsibility is yours too. The bills, the repairs, the late night calls, the medical emergencies, all of it, because I'm not going to be your invisible backup plan anymore. My dad frowned and asked, What's that supposed to mean? And I said, as calmly as I could, It means I'm stepping back. I'll still answer the phone if you truly need me, but I'm done being the quiet, reliable one you lean on while pretending I don't count when it comes to what matters. There was this long, horrible silence, the kind that makes you feel like the whole room is holding its breath. And for the first time in my life, I didn't rush in to fix it. I didn't crack a joke or change the subject. I just sat with it. Then I picked up my keys, pushed my chair all the way back, and said, I'm going to head out. Happy Thanksgiving. My mom whispered, Please don't leave like this. And I looked at her and replied, I didn't choose this. You did. Then I walked out of the house that had been marketed to me as ours my whole life, but apparently had never included my name in their minds. In the weeks after that dinner, the calls from my parents came less often, sometimes with little hints of guilt, sometimes with practical questions that I no longer rushed to solve. I started putting that same energy into my own life, my own apartment, my own future. And somewhere along the way, the grief over losing the house turned into something else, a strange, quiet relief, because I finally stopped chasing proof that I mattered to them and started acting like I mattered to myself. Months later, my mom called and said softly, We should have talked to you. We handled it badly. And while nothing magically fixed the past, I realized I had already made peace with one thing, that my worth was never supposed to come from a deed, a title, or a piece of property. It had to come from how I chose to live, who I chose to be. So no, I didn't get the house, but I did get something my brother still doesn't have. The freedom to build a life that isn't tied to a set of walls and a constant need for approval. And if there's one thing I'd tell anyone listening, it's this. Sometimes what feels like a brutal rejection is actually the door to your own independence being kicked wide open. You are not nothing just because someone else got the house. And if this story hit you anywhere in the chest, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story, because there are a lot of people out there who need to hear they are worth more than whatever their family decided to put in a will.